Okay, now I want to give you a brief introduction to HTML. Okay, so at first I want to say what is HTML? We have to answer this question. What is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So it's the HTML comes from Hypertext Markup Language. Okay, so it is a language. Okay, but please don't worry about this because markup language is not a traditional programming language. Okay, it is not a traditional programming language. It is used to describe the content of the document by using different text. So please note, text is a very important component in HTML because every every web component will have a corresponding text, and we can use the text to describe what kind of content should we put in the web page. Okay, so in the HTML file, different texts are used to describe different web components, such as page title, image, list, table, or maybe music, video, and so on. So the tags are used to describe the different web components where and how to present in a web page. Okay, so we use the HTML, we use the tags to tell the browser how to present, how to display the web component on the screen by using these tags. Okay, so we will learn a lot of text corresponds to different web components. And we use HTML file to tell the browser to display where to display these elements, these web components. Okay, so basically we just use HTML to tell the browser where to display these web components on the screen. We do not tell the browser how to present it. Although I say in this paragraph I say how to present, but basically we use CSS file to tell the browser how to present, how to display this element. But in the older version of HTML, we have some attribute to tell the browser how to display, how to present the web component. But in the modern web design, we don't use this attribute. We always use CSS rules to describe how this web element display on the screen. Okay, so although it is HTML is able to describe how to display, for example, I can use the HTML attribute to change the color of the text, to change the font, the size of the text. But we do not use this attribute anymore in the modern web design. We use CSS rules to change the text color, to change the text size. Okay, so this is a little bit different between the older usage of HTML file and the modern HTML file. Okay, so in most cases we use HTML file, HTML tags to tell the browser where to display these elements on the screen. But we use CSS rules to describe how to present these components. Okay. When the computer open a file with extension as .html or .htm, both extension is fine. It's okay. So you can use .html and you can use .htm, but it is a different file. For example, index.html and the index.html is two files. So please choose one extension. Always use one extension when you design a website. It will be easy to clarify this problem, because sometimes if you use the different extension, you have the same file name with different extension. It will be always confuse us which one is the correct one. Okay, so if you like, you can use .html, or you think I just want to use three alphabet, so I use .html. .htm is okay, but please choose one to make sure your file will not be confused because they have two different extensions. Okay, so we can, as for example, I always use .html. I like to use .html. So when I give you some example, my files always .html, not .htm. But both is okay. It's fine for the browser that can identify as a HTML file. Okay. So when the computer opens the file with the extension as .html or .htm, it will know that this is an HTML file and use the browser to open the file. Okay, so the computer will use your default browser, maybe IE or Chrome or Safari or Firefox and Opera or something else. So the computer will detect the extension and use the browser to open the file. So the browser will interpret the file and show the appropriate content on the screen. Okay, so the browser will scan the file from the top to the end, and then to display the corresponding web component on the screen. Okay, so this is the way to show the web content on your screen, because we use the tags to describe where to put this web component. Because for example, I want to put a paragraph in the top of the web page, and then followed by a image, and then a video, and then a text again. So you will see 4 tags, and the paragraph, image, video, and the paragraph again. Okay, so it will display on the screen sequentially. So the browser will interpret the file from the top to the end. So basically, it will display from top to the end. But we can use the CSS rule to make some modification about the layout. So you will learn it when we start to talk about CSS rules. But in this case, you just need to know the browser will interpret the file from the top to the end. So basically, the element will display sequentially from the top to the end. Okay, HTML is similar to English, so I think it is easy to understand. For example, if I want to put an image, I use img tag. So img is very similar to image, so we can very easily to understand. Oh, img means the image. Or video audio is directly use the English word video audio in the tag. Okay, P means a paragraph, text paragraph. So we use P tag. Okay, so the tag name is very similar to English, so I think it is very easy to understand. So you can consider it, if I see a img tag, which means I will put an image here. If I see a P tag, which means I will put a text paragraph here. If I see a video tag, which means I will put a video in this location. Okay, so it is very easy to understand when you read the HTML file. Okay, so when we consider how to learn HTML, how to learn to write HTML code, at the beginning we will focus on the introduction of syntax. The syntax, I will show you there are many syntax, the basic structure of the HTML. And then there are many tags. I will introduce you each tag. P means a paragraph. Img means a image. And each tag, some tags, we need to specify some attribute. For example, img, we need to tell the browser where the image is. So we have some attribute to specify the location of the image. Okay, so each tag has some particular format. So we will learn how to write the correct tag with the correct format. Okay, so in the beginning, we will focus on the syntax of HTML. So what kind of tag can be used? How to write related HTML code? Okay, so when I want to put an image, how to write the code? When I want to put the music here, how to write the code? When I want to put a video, how to write code? So in the first, I will introduce you the basic syntax of HTML. And then we will start to pay attention to the semantic arrangement. Okay, so is the label right in this place? Can we show the result we want? Okay, so in the web design, we have some pictures in our mind. the result will look like this. But we need to use the HTML to fit what we image in our mind. Okay, so we will think further. In the second step, we will think, is the label here is correct? We put the label here is correct. The sequence of this label, and maybe how to change the layout. Okay, how to use the semantic, because the HTML5 will use some semantic tags to organize our layout. Okay, so we will show you how to use the semantic tags to organize our web page. Okay, so this is the very quickly we show some history of HTML, but I think this is just for your reference. Okay, you can see the HTML1 comes from 1993. It's about maybe 30 years ago, right? Almost 30 years ago. So, and the HTML2, HTML3, HTML4, and now currently we use the HTML5. So the current status of HTML5, I will tell you something about HTML5, because it is the most common used HTML format in the modern web design. Okay, so we use HTML, CSS, STORM, and JavaScript to construct web pages. Okay, so basically in HTML5, we use HTML to specify what kind of element will put in the web page. I want to put an image, I want to put a video, I want to put a text paragraph, I want to put a table, and so on. So we use HTML to put the web element in the web page, and we use CSS to change the layout. So it will look different if we apply different CSS rule to the same web element. Okay, so for example, for image, we can change the size. We can give the image some shadow, some border by different CSS rules. So if we apply different CSS rule to same element, it will look different. So we can use CSS rule to change the layout of the web element. Okay, so please note that in the modern web design, we use HTML to specify what kind of element will be displayed on the screen, and use the CSS rules to change the presentation, to change the layout, to specify how to display this element. Image size, we can change the image size, image shadow, we can change the font size, we can change the font color, okay, or font type, and so on. So we use CSS to change the layout. We can also use CSS to change the location of the element. Okay, so it will totally different. If we apply the different CSS rule to the same HTML file, it may look totally different, because we can use the CSS to change the location, to change the size, to change the color. So it will look totally different, although the HTML file is the same, because we have a paragraph, a video, an image, and a paragraph. But we can change the size, the location of this element, so it will look different by specify different CSS rule. Okay, so HTML and CSS is different usage. We use the HTML to insert web component to the web page, and we use CSS to specify the layout. It will look different. It will look different if we apply the different CSS rules. And the DOM means the structure of the web page. It is used in JavaScript. If I want you to use JavaScript to make some interaction with the web component, we must identify which image. Because for example, if I move the mouse to the image will display to another one. So at first we need to specify the particular image, which image should be changed. When I move the mouse to which image, because in the web page we may have 10 images on the screen. So I must specify the first image. When the mouse moves to the first image, it will change the size. For example, the size of the image will be changed. When I move the mouse into the second image, it will rotate. The location of the image will different. Okay, so how to specify the first image? We use the DOM. Document Object Model. We use DOM to construct the structure of the web element and use to describe the particular element. So we can identify, I want to change the size of first image. I want to move the location of second image. So how to specify the first image, we use DOM system to specify the first image in the JavaScript. Okay, so you just need to know this basic concept is okay currently. I will make some further discussion on when we talk about JavaScript. We will have more detailed discussion about DOM, about DOM. Okay, so the DOM is basically used in JavaScript to describe the particular object, web object, and we can make some interaction with that object. Okay, and it can reduce the usage of plugin. In the older version of HTML, when I want to put some videos, we must use embed tag to put some to call some plugin and maybe to call the media player to show the videos. Okay, but in HTML5 they construct some we can just use the music. We can use the video. We can use video. We can use video tag, audio tag to display the video and to display the music. We don't need to use the plugin. We don't need to use plugin to do this. So the current browser support HTML5. They can directly display the video and the music in the browser. Okay, and we can use some new tag to not, instead of scripting. They support some new tags. We don't need to write some script. We can directly use this new tag, and some particular action will perform by using these new tags. So HTML5 is device independent. So we can use the different device. We can use different system, Windows system, Mac OS, or we can even use the Android system, iOS system to open the HTML file. So HTML is basically device independent. We can open the HTML file in different devices. It's okay. So this is the basic structure of HTML. So I think this is very important here. I want to say it again because we use HTML. We use the HTML to put the web element into the HTML file. So HTML file describe what kind of web element will display on the screen. And then we use CSS to change the layout. So maybe the text color, the font size, or the image size, or some we can use a circle image or something. We can change, make it look different, make the web element looks different by using the CSS rules. Okay, so we will introduce you HTML first, and then we will talk about CSS, and followed by the JavaScript. Okay, so this is the structure of this program. But before the JavaScript, I will introduce you the Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a template. They provide many CSS rules. We can directly use these rules, apply these rules to our web page. So we don't need to know how to write the CSS rule to form the navigation bar. We can directly use Bootstrap. They provide some CSS rules, and we can directly use these rules to quickly generate a very powerful web page. Okay, so after I introduce you the HTML CSS, I will introduce the basic concept of Bootstrap to help you to quickly create a very good website. Looks good, or it looks good. So you don't need to write the code every rules by yourself. You can directly use some predefined rules in the Bootstrap. Okay, so we will introduce HTML first. Now I'm talking about HTML, and then after we talk about HTML, we will start to introduce you the CSS, and followed by the Bootstrap. Bootstrap basically they create some many CSS rules in the Bootstrap. We can directly use these rules. We can apply these rules to our web page, and then we talk about JavaScript and jQuery. Okay, so this is the basic concept of HTML. I want you to know HTML is used to insert, to put the web element into our web page. Please remember that. So next, I will introduce you many tags. Each tag will correspond to some particular web component, and you can start to think about what kind of component I want to put in my web page, and how to use the HTML to put this web element into my web page. Okay, so here we talk about the basic concept of HTML, and the next I will introduce you the usage of Sublime Text.